We are back with Newt Gingrich, Crystal Wright, Sherilyn Ifill, and Charles Blow, as well as Congressman Bobby Rush. So, the floor is yours.
I just want to say in the spirit of Congressman Rush's last statement, I've been working for 6 months to try to get the Black Caucus and the House Republicans to swap districts. I think nothing would be more helpful than to get 3 days of a black member going into a Republican district and 3 days of that Republican going into a black district. So to whatever degree Bobby can help me get this to happen, I think that begins a conversation that's real.
Well, but also, wait, I want to pick up on something about what, excuse me, Representative Rush, because you had some time here and you accused Republicans of not doing anything. Senator Mark Kirk got $19 million in funding to combat the epidemic of gang violence in Chicago. Representative Rush called him an elitist white boy because he's trying to solve a problem. You have 100,000 gang members in Chicago. This year alone, 200 people were slaughtered, mostly blacks. Wait a minute. I just want to finish one point here. Over the holiday weekend, July 4th, 62 gunned down in Chicago. Shot, 12 died. And I want to say one final thing. In 1965, Daniel Patrick Moynihan wrote The Negro Family, The Case for National Action. You know what he found? What was dragging down black Americans? The illegitimate birth rate at the time was 23%. And there was an increasing rise. Wait a minute, this is important. Increasing rise.
I need to get some other folks in here. Let me just
rise on
1965.
It is because the illegitimate birth rate is 73%, and that is the root of the problem.
Here's the issue.
That you don't want to have your time.
You've had your time. Here's the issue. In communities all over this country, I've lived in Baltimore for 20 years. The same is true in Chicago, Gary, Indiana, in New York, big cities all over this country. African Americans have been at the fore of pushing against gang violence, against black-on-black crime. Every time one of these issues comes up, what we hear is this issue about black-on-black crime. The fact that there is crime within race, and there's no such thing as black-on-black crime. Most crime happens within the same race. There's white-on-white crime, too. The reality is we live in a gun-soaked, violent society. And what this verdict does is it takes a very particular issue that African Americans for a long time have had with law enforcement, the issue of racial profiling. And now, because of the Stand Your Ground laws, because of our gun-soaked society, because of the concealed weapon laws, we're essentially saying that average citizens like George Zimmerman, who have a fear in our racially anxious society that a young teenager is a threat, can kill that teenager and can kill that teenager with impunity. The issue of gang violence does not change the reality of what happened.
I must say this. I must say this.
Today is not crime in the black community.
Here's the thing. We can't hear any of you when everyone's talking. Congressman, if you'll hold on for 1 second, I just want to get Charles Blow in here, and then I promise I will, since we have talked about your district here. Go ahead, Charles.
I just hate when we reduce problems and try to say this one thing is the problem. Racial scars are deep and racial memories are long. And I think that once you understand that a lot of things go into creating problems and there will be a lot of factors that will go into solving problems, and we're not reductive in the way that we think about the solutions to problems, that we understand that how bias works within us and within the system, that we understand that there is explicit bias and there's also implicit bias that we're not even aware of, that feeds into a system, whether or not that is a police officer in the way that they interact with people that they come into contact with, or whether or not that is a healthcare provider and whether or not they provide this appropriate and equal kinds of treatment. All of that.
And you don't
care.
Okay, hang on 1 second, because I just want to, Congressman, can I just ask you a quick question here? Because we don't have much time. Would you go to Newt Gingrich's old district and in wherever its current permutation is, and stay there for 3 or 4 days and walk those streets? And I will ask the Speaker if he is willing to go to your Chicago district.
Candy, I would do it in a heartbeat, but let me just say, because I want us to understand, I not only am a member of Congress, I pastor a church. I pastor a church in the Inglewood community. As soon as I get off this seat right now, I'm going to jump in my car and head to my congregation to preach this morning, all right? the Inglewood community is probably one of the most violent communities in the city. I'm there. I've been there for 10 years. What I'm calling on, not only Newton but the other Republicans, is that if they are really believe in their faith, if they are really going to church this morning and it really makes a difference to them, then I'm going to say, if there's one Lord, one faith, and one baptism, then demonstrate that. Demonstrate that by not just pointing fingers at the problem,
but joining in with the solution.
By understanding that there is a real serious issue of disinvestment in our communities. Disinvestment, the outflow of jobs is the number one problem that we face.
I am really running up against the clock. Thank you so much. You've got 15 seconds.
Newt, count me in, Newt.
All right.
Count me in. And you come to Chicago.
Get both sides to talk to each other.
No, count me in. Right. I'm speaking.
We have an agreement.
You and I.
We have an agreement.
All right. Thank you so much. Newt Gingrich, Crystal Wright, Sherrilyn Ifill, Charles Blow, and of course, Bobby Rush. Thank you.